lift. Still in my grip, yeah, the ball been slow. Every drop of pain make the legend grow. Heartbeat banging like a war drum sound. Every rapping out of crown, no fear in my eyes, only hunger and rage. Writing my story on the iron cage. Late nights grinding while they sleeping out. Now I'm flexing everything they talked about. Ooh.
So, for those of you that are familiar with us here at College Football Forecast, you know that we are about to cram about 50 pounds of mud into about a 12.5-pound sack. But that's what we do here. The Big Ten is huge, unwieldy, and frankly, there's too much of it. But it is also an exciting conference, and a whole lot is going to happen in that conference this year. I'm joined, of course, by my co-host, that gentleman right there, Mr. Matthew Brunelli. Say hello to everyone, Matt.
Hey, how we doing, everybody, today? I'm excited to get into this podcast with the Big Ten and get to talk with some amazing people today.
Yes, indeed. And it doesn't get more amazing than this gentleman right here, Mr. What the heck? Oh, there it is. Nope. He's teasing us. Mr. Ohio State himself. That's right. Just the tip from Josh Keatley. But yes, Mr. Ohio State himself. Nobody anywhere has more and hotter information about Ohio State football anywhere on the planet Earth. You people should be paying us, but we're giving it to you for free. Free. It's ridiculous. Josh Keatley, say hello to the people.
Dude, how you guys doing, man? It's been a while. This is my first podcast appearance pretty much since I think we did a couple since my son's been born, but this is definitely my first since the new year. Things have been a little bit crazy in my life. Can you guys hear me okay? Is everything okay?
Yeah,
I
can hear you perfectly. Yeah,
I can hear you fine, and it looks like you've dropped a few lbs since the last time we saw you.
Dude, so I gained 50 pounds since having Max. Okay,
really?
Then I lost. No, I gained 40 pounds. Then I lost 50 pounds. All of it bad. I looked really, really bad, and now I finally gained like 20, 25 pounds back, where it's like a mix of positive, a mix of negative. So, dude, this kid, man, fatherhood is not for the weak.
No. Fatherhood is not for anybody who really, really understands how finances work. But luckily, none of us are econ majors.
No.
So, speaking of economics, the Big Ten, of course, is a hotbed of talk about things like NIL, NFL, and occasionally, I guess drug kingpin activity, but that's a whole other discussion. But keeping it football, we're keeping it football. First of all, tell me, do you think things go back to quote unquote normal? Meaning Ohio State goes back to being, automatically stomping through the Big Ten, that kind of stuff. And all the weirdness of the last couple of years just kind of fades into the rear view.
No, I don't think so. I think Cignetti's here to stay. I think Ohio State is always going to be the cream of the crop of the Big Ten, but I don't think that they're alone. I don't think that they're walking through. I think that it's the toughest conference in the Big Ten. I think, even the teams that everybody makes fun of, like Purdue or Michigan State or Rutgers, have the capability and have the alumni base that if they can get the right charismatic guy like a Cignetti, they could flip like a switch, right? And I don't think that that's the case for every school in the country, but I don't think that. I think that the financial backing is going in the NIL space for Ohio State is going to prevent them from ever collapsing. Now, does that mean that when Ryan Day retires or when he loses his juice, are they going to miss a bowl? Yeah, no, I don't know if I see that. I could see like a 6-6 team, eventually, but I don't know if they're ever going to collapse. You know what I mean? I mean, you would have thought the world was on fire when Luke Fickell had that one bad year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it was just, I don't think that that's going to happen in the day. And he got, again, things were falling apart around him. But in the NIL space, I just don't know if it's ever going to happen again like that. But, and anything's possible, dude. Anything's possible. You get the right guy that owns the right bakery, like Crumble Cookies, and Ohio State gets a couple donors heavy hitting donors that pass away. And then, you might be looking at something different. There was rumors when Les Wexner, because Les Wexner was in the Epstein files and all that, and he was a big donor. Half the campus buildings are named after the guy. There was rumors that was going to collapse the athletic department. I don't think that it's going to happen, but my point is that anything could happen in this space thanks to the NIL that will, blessing and a curse, I guess.
Okay. So give me at least one program that you think will be a pleasant surprise in the conference. At least one that will be stub my toe. Oh, hangnail. Oh, ingrown hair. Not quite so pleasant surprise in the Big Ten.
Yeah, sure. So I'll just go. I'll go off my betting sheet here. I feel like that's probably the best way to look at it. I like USC.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, this is all free.
You know what? Too, I killed it last year on my Big Ten bets. But USC's win total is 8.5. This is one of the best rosters in college football. I don't understand. I know that everybody's kind of down on Lincoln Riley, and he may not be an elite coach, but we know he's not a bad coach, right? Mm-hmm. We know he's not a bad coach. They bring in a lot of juice on the defensive side of the ball. I don't think that I think that we've seen them gradually get tougher, and that's kind of what they were lacking. They lose some studs at the receiver position, but they reload, right? That's never really where they've been bad. So them at 8.5 with the schedule that they have, I know that there's a couple, thumps that they're going to have to get over, speed bumps, but I think that they can do it. Are they going to win the Big Ten? I don't know if they're going to do that, but I feel pretty good that they'd be like my sleeper Big Ten playoff team. I don't know how you can look at the schedule and not have an argument that they can win 10 games, right? Maybe you disagree with that, but I think if you look at the schedule, you're going to have a hard time being like, oh, this team is going to win 8 games. I don't think that you can look at the roster and the schedule and think that. So I think that they're going to be a pleasant surprise to because they've been kind of written off. A team that I think is going to really, really blow. This is not a hot take, right? Everybody thinks this, but I think where my take differs, and maybe I'm wrong, is Michigan State. I think they made the wrong hire. I love Pat Fitzgerald. I think he was wronged at Northwestern. I think that whole situation was really shitty. I think that they handled it really poorly. But Michigan State, they didn't give Jonathan Smith a lot of time. My understanding from people that I know that are connected with the program is that they didn't really give him much of a chance. Some of the donors have backed out. He's got a huge uphill battle to make for someone that didn't really dominate. I don't know the game. He hasn't been out of the game for that long, but he's been out of the game long enough to where I think it's going to be a lot harder than people think. So I think that they're going to have a disastrous season. Their win total is at 4.5. I don't see 5 wins on the schedule. I don't see 4 wins on the schedule. If I'm being frank, I don't see 3 wins on the Michigan State schedule. So I think that I don't think they're going to fire them this year, but they're going to be. I think that they're going to be a lot rougher than people think. Are those sleeper enough for you? Or do you want some more hitters?
No, you're doing the thing. That's the thing that you're doing, and we're gonna bring in some more people because God knows we need more people. Hey, Big Bone did.
How you doing?
Oh, it is so exciting to see you, sir. So we're gonna speed-ish round through there. So. This is, of course, a fittingly named conference, as I said before. There are a ludicrous number of teams, good, bad, and indifferent, all in this conference. We've talked a little bit about Indiana. I too, agree with you, Josh. Indiana's not going anywhere, at least while Signetti's there. And I think he might be building the machine in such a way that it might survive. Maybe not at the same level, but I don't think they're going to go back to being, the automatic win Indiana that they once were. I don't think that's coming back. I mean, ever. Well, not ever, but for the foreseeable future. I think that
he doesn't really get enough credit for how disastrous that program was. I mean, I know that we all follow college football beyond the television, what's on TV, but most people don't know that when he took over Indiana, they were literally the only Big Ten football program to not have their own football facilities.
Yep.
What?
Yep.
That's crazy. In today's day and age, when Ohio State has a barber, Oregon has a waterfall in their locker room, and you're telling me they don't even have their own weight room? He did that. I mean, crazy, man. That's crazy.
Yep. Yeah. So since we've been joined by the aptly named Big Boned, and we talk about the aptly named Big Ten, give me a team that hasn't been mentioned as a team that you think might challenge, and then a team that you think is overrated, overhyped, and overblown.
I'm looking at the show sheet, and I think it says segment 2, the heavyweights. Penn State, are we sleeping on the Nittany Lions? I don't know if you talked about it yet.
Nope. You timed it perfectly.
But I have stated, probably on this show, but definitely on many, many others, that since he became a starter at Iowa State as a freshman in game 1, I have been a huge Rocco Becht fan. NFL pedigree, his dad was a tight end in the league, and for some reason he decided to go with the coach to Penn State. So that Iowa State kind of blueprint moves on to Pennsylvania, and I think people are sleeping on the Nittany Lions. I think they're going to have a better season outcome than they did last year. I think they brought a lot of Iowa State guys in. And then, I mean, Ohio State has to be the favorite in the division, in the conference, and I think Michigan is overrated.
Okay. You're probably not alone in that. I think Michigan is a popular fade bet. I guess Josh can confirm or deny that. But I don't think you're alone in being suspicious of Michigan this season. So
yeah, I'm sorry if I jumped ahead of the show sheet a little bit.
One, never apologize. I mean, at least to me. Please apologize to people who deserve apologies. But you are doing me an enormous favor simply by giving me of your attention, your talent, and your time. So I'm going to ask if anybody has since we're going to move on to what I call the middle four. Is Michigan State apparently is not the best team in the state this year, as was definitively declared, very, very definitively declared. In fact, it sounds like they should maybe disband their program. So what I'm going to do is move on to the next question. I'll ask everyone here to please rank Maryland, Minnesota, Northwestern, and Purdue from 1 to 4 from that group. And I'll start with Big Boned, and I'll go to Josh.
So I'm going to go Minnesota, Maryland, Northwestern, and what was the fourth that you said?
Purdue,
and then Purdue.
Oh, well, that was quick. Okay, same question to you, Josh Keatley.
Yeah, I actually agree with that 100%. I think Minnesota, again, we'll go back to the betting lines. Their win total set at 5.5. PJ Fleck's always a very good coach. Maybe he's not the best, but he's a good coach. He gets the most out of his talent. They return a quarterback that's pretty exciting, a running back who should be healthy. So I expect him to hit that mark of over 5.5. The second one is Maryland. Maryland's more unique. Their win totals at 5.5 too. That's a good line. That's a good line. I'm going to take the over because it's plus money, but that I don't have a lot of confidence in that, like gun to my head. But they have a very exciting quarterback. It's a damn shame that stud defensive pass rusher's hurt. What was his name? You guys know it. Either way, he was a former 4-star, 5-star guy. It's a shame he's hurt. But they return I think they return the most production of any team in the country. So I'll put them second, and we're talking about the garbage pile of the Big Ten here. And then you had, I think it was Northwestern. I would agree that's the third place team. They brought in Chip Kelly, so the offense is going to be better. I like Chip Kelly. I really do. I know people make fun of him. I know he looked like Grimace with his little vest, but I do like that hire. I don't think that their head coach is a bad coach. I do think that there's something there on the opposite side of the ball to make this team somewhat exciting. But their win total is at 5.5. I would hit the under. I think that they can be not embarrassing, but that doesn't mean they're going to win games. And then Purdue, I think that I also agree that they're pretty much trash. Their win total set at 3.5. I find it hard to find 2 wins on that schedule, right? And I don't think that's Barry Odom's fault. I really do think that one good offseason, and he's going to have that program, as a bowl team. I like him. I like him as a head coach. It's not him. It's not there yet. And I like the quarterback too. I saw him sling it in person, and I think he's got a lot of talent. So we'll see. But that's definitely my last place of those 4.
Got it.
Yeah. Ryan Brown is a good quarterback.
Yep. Interesting player. We talked a little bit about USC, touched briefly on USC. I agree with anyone else who also thinks that USC is a sleeping giant. When NIL first came into being, I made a video and posted it, how I just talked about how USC was going to dominate college football. It's like NIL, that's made for USC right there. Look at where their location is. They've got money. They've got superstars, both athletic and, just general celebrity type superstars littered all over the place. They're going to have, Will Ferrell and Snoop Dogg and whoever involved in fundraising and all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. Well, I've been wrong, obviously, so far. They've been somewhere between good and meh since NIL has hit the scene. But I think this year that they have their best year, certainly since they've been in the conference, and maybe their best year in the last, 5 or 6 years. Okay. Now, the next thing I'd like to sort of touch upon, the toughness has always been the question, or one of the big questions since USC joined the conference has been toughness. Are they tough enough? Are they physical enough? Are they blah, blah, blah? Have they adapted? I'll start with Josh. Do you think USC has now made the adaptation to playing Big Ten football?
Yeah, I think so. I think that they, like you said, they were soft. There for a while, they had Chris Ash as a defensive coordinator. That always is going to hold you back. Ask any Ohio State fan. But, it feels like a lot of the attention that they've spent in the portal has been trying to get tougher guys, right? They got 2 running backs in that room that are both hard-nosed, tough runners. They keep trying to add guys in the trenches. Even the quarterback, Maeva, he's kind of what you want in a quarterback. Like, as far as like, grinding it out, put the team on your back, win games, right? I'm not bashing on Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is great, but he never really did that. So, I feel like the identity of USC has slowly changed. If he can't do it this year, I don't know when he's going to do it.
Gotcha. Once again, great minds think alike. I think this is kind of their breakout year, but same question to you, Big Bone. Do you think this is the year that they make the adaptation? Are they now a real Big Ten team?
I don't know. I think the tests are coming. They have a really tough schedule. Starting on September 26th, they face Oregon, Washington, Penn State, Wisconsin, Ohio State, and then Indiana. And that's a 5-game stretch that is really going to tell the tale. Maeva he had a lot of hype coming out as a freshman. Hasn't really delivered as kind of your program carrier. I think they're going to rely on Wayman Jordan a lot. Giving up Lemon and Tyson over the offseason to the NFL, I think it's going to be I think it's going to be hard for them to replace. I like Zacharias Williams, but I don't know if you lose Mekhi Lemon and Jordan Tyson, like how do you kind of replicate that in the program when they didn't have those guys there? Their defensive line, I think, is going to be okay. I really like Braylon Shelby coming off the edge. I think he's going to be a Sunday player for a long time. But I think that NIL has completely changed the dynamic, especially so being a California guy, I've watched over the last 40 years how California recruiting was dictated by USC and UCLA and then and Stanford to a certain extent, and then kind of everybody else fell to wherever else. And with NIL, I think USC and UCLA, they don't have the clout that they used to in state. I think NIL is driving a lot of guys to different places. A lot of guys know they can start at a Fresno State and they're going to get a big payday rather than sitting on the bench at USC. So I think you don't have the depth in those big programs that you used to. And we're seeing kids come out of, like I said, Fresno State, San Jose State, guys going to other locations rather than thinking in their head, okay, I'm going to be 4 or 5 years in LA. I'm just going to fight through the depth chart over the course of the years. Instead, I can go here. I can start as a freshman at a smaller school, and then somebody like Indiana or Miami is going to give me a big paycheck. So I think it's going to be harder for USC, and I don't think that dynamic is going to change for a while.
Yeah, well, like I said, I already stood corrected from thinking. I just thought NAL was like made for a team like USC. So I've been proven wrong.
No, I mean you're correct in your assumption. I mean, there's a lot of programs out there. I thought Alabama was going to be the big winner of NIL. I thought that there are a lot of programs out there that have huge alumni, super famous, big legacies, and the thing
big
is
brands,
that
all that stuff. Yeah.
NIL just kind of even the playing field, and
The
so
big
a lot of
winner's
those
been
programs.
Indiana. Like, shout out to whoever saw that coming, right?
Nobody.
Because if I could find somebody's pinned post from like 3 years ago saying that the big winner would be Indiana, they were going to like run roughshod over college football, I will then follow that person like everything else they want to say.
I mean, Signetti's the only one that saw it coming.
Yeah, there's the guy who saw it
I
coming.
would like to add that when we had I had a podcast before when Signetti was hired, and I said now I was wrong because I said in 3 years he's going to have Indiana competing for Big Ten championship. I don't know if they're going to win it, but he's going to have Indiana win 10 games, and he did it immediately. Immediately.
I was where you were. I knew he wasn't news to me. I'd watched his career from I'd been a fan of his since the PSAC days, right? So I knew him at Elon. I knew him all the way through, right? So I wasn't surprised by what he'd done at Chase Mass or what he's done anywhere that he'd been. So I knew like you, I thought he would, but I thought it would take longer. I was with you on that too. It's like, okay, give him a couple years, 7-8 wins, then like 9-10 wins, and then boom, but no. Boom, came right away. At the other end of the spectrum, culturally, athletically, almost every way you can be from USC is, of course, Iowa. A place where change is gradual or non-existent. I'm going to be honest. I will not be surprised if Iowa is the worst it's been in many years or if I was the best it's been in many years. And frankly, I don't know which is more likely. I will start with you, Josh. Is Iowa have structural flaws and issues that will mean that they will never be able to truly contend again, or what's going to happen?
No, I mean, I think that I'm never going to count Iowa out. Ohio State plays at Kinnick, and that's one of the games that I'm fully anticipating having a full-on sweat. Their win total is set at 7.5. I'm not betting on it because there's a reason why that line's that way, because they're always right around 8 wins. I would take the over, gun to my head, but they're going to be competitive, right? They might get blown out in 2 games, but they're going to be. They're going to be competitive with everybody that's on the schedule. I mean, Washington, they're tougher than them. They got to go out to Washington, but they're not going to get whooped, right? I don't know if they're going to get whooped by Ohio State. They might get whooped by Michigan. It's at Michigan. Maybe, right? But would you bet on it? Would you bet on them getting their ass whooped? I don't know. They play Illinois at Illinois, but they could win. That's a coin flip game too. I mean, they're just always tough. They always got a tough offensive line. They always got tough defensive backs. I just don't want to count them out. Are they going to win the Big Ten? No. Are they going to be in the playoff hunt? Probably not. But to say 8, I have a hard time not seeing them get 8 wins, and that makes them very tough in my eyes.
Yeah, no, I mean the classic thing is to pencil in them for 8 and 4, and if you do that every year, you're gonna be right about 70% of the time. Same question for you is this year going to be an anomaly year? Are they going to be way better, Big Boned, or way worse, or can we just go back to penciling in 8 and 4?
I mean, yeah, it's a Kirk Ferentz led team. They're just a bunch of big uglies. Jeremy Hiklinski, the quarterback, is under 6 feet. I don't know how much you can rely on that, but apparently he's the leader in the clubhouse at this point for the QB job. Iowa is gonna Iowa, and I think it's going to be a lot of low scoring, big defense games. They're not going to blow anybody away. They're not going to compete for the Big Ten title. They're not going to make it to the playoffs. They're not going to be the worst team in the conference. They're just going to be the Hawkeyes that everybody knows and Hawkeyes fans love somehow.
Ha! Okay, gotcha. Mr. Matt Brunelli, do you have a read on this that might be somehow different from everyone else's?
I mean, going back a little bit further away when everybody talking, I agree with the bottom four with what we were talking about with in that order. I do disagree with the Michigan take. I do think Michigan's going to be better than what you guys were saying they're going to be. It does come down to Bryce Underwood if he can make that step. If Bryce cannot make the step up, then Michigan might struggle. But I mean, Bryce did have his moments throughout the last year. I do think with Kyle Whittingham, Michigan's going to have arguably one of the best defenses in the conference this year. That's going to make them tough enough to win games as long as Bryce can not do the turnovers. Penn State, I'm low on. I don't see Penn State winning 8 games. I think Rocco Beck. I'm a Rocco Beck truther too, Brendan, but I don't think he's meant for this level. He struggled in some of the games at his old conference, and I think stepping up and coming to a tough defenses like he's going to be facing more week in and week out. Rocco's going to make a lot of mistakes, make turnovers. I don't, as much as I love Matt Campbell, I don't get the firing of James Franklin to replace him with Matt Campbell. So I do think he's going to have some growing pains this first year, and I don't see Penn State getting to eight games. I do see them finishing outside of the top 25. I was going to say Iowa. I don't think Iowa's going to be strong, but man, Iowa's our schedule is weak. Iowa has a cupcake schedule this year, and I do think Iowa can easily win their 8 games, 9 games. And, even though they don't have an offense, that defense will do well enough. And my biggest takeaway here is Indiana Hoosiers do not finish the season in the top 10. I don't think Josh Hoover is the answer. Josh Hoover is going to be the reason Indiana struggles this year. And he's not going to be Curtis Rourke, and he's not going to be Fernando Mendoza. Josh Hoover will be the reason the Indiana Hoosiers don't finish in the top 10. Okay.
That's why I love having a co-host like Matt Brunelli, because he brings some stuff. Quick side note to everyone, to children of all ages, to everyone assembled here, and of course ships at sea. There are 7 acknowledged wonders of the world, but you're about to witness the 8th, because there ain't no party like a Montel Hardy party, because a Montel Hardy party don't stop. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been joined by the one, the only Mr. Montel Hardy. How are we doing, Mr. Montel Hardy? Uh-oh.
I'm putting mine in the mashed potatoes. Oh, sorry. Different kind of party?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I would like to throw out there, as far as the Michigan goes, as an Ohio State fan, I plan on betting the over on Michigan 7.5. I do think that there was a ton of they had so much. I know. I got a couple people that are pretty close to the situation up there, and it was just a mass chaos. It was just a mass chaos. They knew about the Sharon Moore thing for pretty much
a while.
Since the beginning of time. Yeah, what I mean? Like, he wasn't. He was weird. Wouldn't talk to other coaches, which is weird because I was on this. I think I was on this show, and I said I think it was a good hire, keeping things consistent. Yada yada yada. Was wrong. Turns out he's a weirdo. I think that Whittingham automatically makes them tougher.
Yes.
I do think Ohio State whoops them this year, but I think it's more because of I think it's like the Ryan Day, John Cooper thing where they don't quite grasp it yet. You kind of already got that vibe during Big Ten media days, but I think they're going to be tough. I plan on hammering the 7.5. I have a hard time not seeing 9 wins on here. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I think that they're a tough team. Also with the Penn State, I do have to agree. I'll be the tiebreaker on the Penn State thing. I do think Penn State's going to be tough too. James Franklin, again, he kind of threw a Hail Mary hiring Knowles. Knowles, everybody knows that defense takes time to implement, and he's also not the most social individual, not the most talkative community kind of guy. James Franklin is. James Franklin's a super nice guy. Honestly, he's the nicest head coach I've ever talked to. He's up there. And I don't think that it was a good mesh. He was throwing a Hail Mary, thinking that he stole something Ohio State really wanted, which they didn't, and it backfired hugely, and it just snowballed, and the season went down the tank. I think that there's a lot of talent up there, and I think that Matt Campbell can steady the ship. Is he the greatest coach in the world? I don't think so. I don't think they should have fired James Franklin. I think James Franklin made a really horrible mistake. And unfortunately, that's what got him fired. I don't think Pat Campbell's a better coach than James Franklin, but I do think that he'll get the most out of this roster. And I would also, I don't plan on hammering this on this total. I think it's going to be darn close because it's at 8.5. But gun to my head, I would take the over.
Okay.
The Michigan's the big thing. Michigan getting rid of Sharon. Kyle Whittingham is going to make Michigan an elite defense, and he brought over Daly, which is going to give him an elite edge rusher again, which is going to make him Ohio State. As much as I made fun of Ohio State last year, I do think Ohio State wins the Natty. I do think they have the best roster. I think they have the best roster in college football.
Okay.
Well,
as much as I hate to say that as an Ohio State hater, I do think Ohio State's the best team in the football this year.
This is a perfect segue point because it's time to talk college football playoffs. How many teams, I'll go back to Mr. Big Bone did, how many teams do you think in this conference will actually qualify and, not just qualify, but be in the college football playoffs?
With the expansion, I would set it at 4 and be comfortable imagining Ohio State in there, Oregon in there. USC is a possibility. Michigan's a possibility. I agree Indiana is going to take a big step backward this year. But if I'm not running down the list of all of the Big Ten teams and I'm just kind of picking a number, I'm going to say 4 make the playoff.
Okay. Same question to my co-host, Mr. Matthew Brunelli. Mr. Brunelli, how many teams?
I don't hate 4. I mean, it's going to be depending on how strong the conference is this year and what teams step up, what teams step back, like Indiana, Iowa, some of these Penn State, like these teams that are just flirting with the top 25. If they could stay in the top 25 in the season, I could see 4. But right now, I would say the for sure lock-ins going into the season would be Ohio State, Oregon, and then I would say USC. I would say 3 right now with the 4 flirting.
And take us on home, Josh. How many do you see?
I think 4 is a good number. I think that there's realistically 5 teams that you're going to be able to make an argument at the end of the year. I think everybody's listening to Indiana, Ohio State, USC, Oregon. I'll throw Michigan in there. Maybe there's a lot of talent with some of these middle tier teams like Washington, Penn State, Illinois that could flash. There's a mix of talent and good coaching but my top 5 would probably be right there. You got to anticipate one of those, with Michigan, if they get beat by Ohio State last weekend, and let's say they're 9-3, they're probably not getting in, right? So I think 4 is probably a good number. I think you guys, I can't believe you guys are still sleeping on Signetti. That is crazy. I'm trusting.
It's not Signetti. It's not Signetti.
I don't think Josh Hoover's bad.
I'm with you.
They don't have the running back either, though. I don't think they have the running backs this year. They lost, losing Black and losing the other
Hemby, Roland Hemby.
Yeah, and I just think they lost a lot on offense. I don't think Hoover was bad at TCU the year before. He should have probably went to Tennessee. Thank God he didn't, and he stayed at TCU. But now I just don't. He's not Curtis Rourke, and he's not going to be Mendoza. Nobody. I mean, to follow up Mendoza and to follow up a national championship, that's a big shoes, a big shadow to be in. And I don't know if he has the chops to take it up to.
He's not going to be. All the points that you made are 100% valid. I don't have an issue with that at all. My trump card is Signetti.
I can't. I mean, when you throw Signetti in my face, I can't disagree.
I know that's the problem, right? So I don't think that you're wrong. I just don't know. I can't say that you're right because I'm not going to bet against Signetti. And the Hoover thing, part of me thinks that he was asked to do so much on such a subpar TCU team that maybe that resulted in him making more mistakes than he should have. Do I think that? Would I want Josh Hoover on my team? No. But I'm not. But Signetti, I'm also smart enough to know that Signetti's smarter than me.
I mean, I can't argue that. You're right. I mean,
that's where I got to bow out.
You're right. Signetti is a smarter man than I am. I'm not going to disagree. I mean, you have to trust the process with Signetti and what you think he can do with Josh Hoover. But they lost a lot on offense.
They did.
At running back, wide receiver. I don't have any issue with the defense. I think he reloaded and that defense won't lose a step. It's just the offense that scares me.
The line is 10.5. I would agree with you that they've lost enough talent to where I'm not betting on it. But gun to my head, I'm certainly taking the over. Certainly.
Oh.
I sit at 8-9. I can sit at 8 or 9 and that's enough to not make the playoffs.
I fully anticipate being upset when Ohio State loses to them this year again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We will revisit this. We have a nice little split there. Montel Hardy has rejoined us, so I'm going to ask him the question I just asked everyone. Good to have you back, Montel. College football playoffs. When you look at the conference, how many teams do you think have a legitimate chance to be in the college football playoffs from the conference? Uh-oh.
Oh, can you hear us?
I'm wondering if he cannot hear us, perhaps.
He is muted, but I don't see him talking.
Yes, he is muted, and I don't see him. Okay, I'm going to go back to going forward. Then, Montel, if you want to chime in, unmute yourself, would love to have you answer that question. But we're going to move forward. Okay, so moving forward. The ever popular lightning round. Everyone give me your top 2 when you think the conference finishes out, like which teams finished first and second. And then give me, Montel might be back. I'm going to give Montel one more shot. Can you hear me, sir? Montel, can you hear me? Okay, we're going to move forward, as I said before. So, looking at, so give me your top 2, who finishes first and second in the conference. When everyone also, in addition, give me the team you think will be most improved. And the Brock Vieira Memorial, who maybe loses their job perhaps, or gets a new one someplace else, but because they lose the one they have currently. Breakout player, a breakout program, and the prediction you think that you might have already made, or maybe haven't made yet, but you are hoping or willing you might actually be wrong about. So the prediction that you are perhaps hoping you might be wrong about or willing to be wrong about. That's what we're going to go through in this lightning round. I will start with my co-host. Give me your champion, your runner-up, your most improved team, the coach that you think might, be advised to contact a good realtor, a breakout player, breakout program, and then a prediction you are willing and perhaps even hoping to be wrong about. Mr. Matt Brunelli.
Okay, I'm going to try my best to remember all that. That was a lot to throw at me. Okay, so I think it's obvious. I think how it sits right now with the AP rankings, I think Ohio State, Oregon are the 2 best teams in this conference. I think that's going to be the conference championship. I think Dante Moore coming back to be the best quarterback in the 2027 draft, and if he can make that little step up that he needs to, I think he's a lock and shoe in for the Heisman and could be the best player in the conference and the national championship. I do think Dante Moore kind of fits all those shoes, but I do think it's Ohio State winning with Oregon State as the follow-up. I think this is a twofer. Wisconsin Badgers could be the best improved team. I do believe in Luke Fickell, but Luke Fickell will also be the head coach looking for a new realtor. And it's going to be one or the other. So, I mean,
most improved or else. We have a new segment now. Thank you.
It's the most improved or else. I mean, I was high on Luke Fickell last year. I thought they were going to be able to make that step because it always takes about 2 or 3 years for Luke. I thought he was going to make that jump last year. He did not. They gave him one more year. They said they're going to give him the money and the time. Can he do it? If not, I don't think they play around because I think they'll try to get him out the door fast if he doesn't improve because so many coaches were fired last year. Wisconsin might want to try to get ahead of the game and be able to start, recruiting early. So that would be that situation there. And then
also.
I think Dante Moore. I really think that's like the breakout. I know that's not a huge, I do think Dante Moore is in that situation where he can make himself the number 1 pick, shoe in, lock in, 101 pick, or he can literally ruin his career and not get drafted in the first round. Like, I think it's one or the other. He could be, going back to USC days with Matt Barkley. Matt Barkley would have been a top 10 pick if he came out his junior year, but went back, and USC was supposed to be the Natty champions. I think Dante Moore could be that situation here. If he doesn't make that jump, if he doesn't improve, which I think he does. I think he makes all those improvements. I love Dante Moore. I'm just saying he's that guy. He could be that situation.
And the final question, give me which prediction you are willing or perhaps even hoping to be wrong about of your own.
Indiana.
Oh, okay.
Right. I mean, I'll be okay with being wrong on Indiana Hoosiers and Kurt Cinetti. I would not be a problem being proven wrong by Kurt Cinetti, like Josh says. That's the one. I think that was a bullish take, but that's why I said top 10. I didn't say top 25. I didn't say they would completely fall apart. I just said I don't think there'll be a top 10 team at the end of the season.
I got you. Next, now, Josh, same questions, and let me know if you need me to remind you of what they were.
I'm looking at the sheet here, so hopefully I don't mess it up. I think Indiana's the Big Ten champion. I'm just not going to bet against Signetti. I think that he's smarter than everybody else in the room. I think that the runner-up is Ohio State. I think that Julian Sainz gotten too much hate for a guy who started one season for some reason, and he wasn't perfect. Don't get me wrong, but the guy's going to come back approved. You got a stable of young running backs that look good. I think that this team is going to be good. I don't think that the Patricia defense was a flash in the pan. Most improved team. I think on the field it's going to be USC, right? Because I know USC was good last year. No one's saying they sucked, but everybody knew that they weren't going to do anything, right? Like they were never a threat to make the playoffs at any point last year. But I mean, I guess if based off of total wins, it's got to be Maryland. Maryland won one game last year. I think Malik Washington could put the team on the back and win at least 5. I mean, right? At least 4. So it's got to be Maryland on the based off the pure record. Coach who's under the most pressure, it's definitely Luke Fickell. There's no question. That's the guy. He reeks of desperation. He has to win. Oh, I don't know what. Let's see. Their win total 6.5. My God.
Oh, that doesn't get it done.
Yeah, he's got to. You know what? I would take the under on that. I'm going to bet the under on the Wisconsin 6.5. They're not going to. He's out. He was a bad hire. Cincinnati was a really easy place to recruit because you got the Ohio State runoff, and at the time they were playing in the AAC. It was just a bad hire. That dude. I'm not saying he's a bad coach. It's just he was in over his head immediately. So yeah, he's going to be fired. Breakout player. I'm gonna be a homer and say Kenyatta Jackson, Ohio State. I don't say he's Chase Young or anything, but he's a lot closer to that than people think. I don't really know why he doesn't get as much hype as some of the other guys. This was a guy that when he played as a freshman and he was in the rotation with JTT and Jack Sawyer, who were both in the NFL and both doing all right. When I would talk to NFL scouts, they would say he was the most explosive one, right? He dominated pretty much every game except for Miami. Even IU, you could say he pretty much dominated. He was just getting tackled every play. Like it wasn't. I defy you to find a game where he got rolled over. Like I mean, he's really good. He's put on more weight. He's more explosive. Everything I hear out of camp is just been excellent. So I think that he's going to be up there. People are going to recognize him. The prediction I'm hoping I'm wrong about is definitely IU. I don't want to watch Ohio State lose to IU again. I think Ryan Day does this thing where he gets in his head and he starts – you know how it was like Michigan. It starts to snowball, man. How many times are you going to lose to the guy? So that's definitely the prediction I'm hoping is wrong. I hope IU is not the machine I think they are.
Got it. And bring us on home, Big Bone did.
So I'm gonna stick my neck out and I'm gonna say that Penn State is gonna be the most improved. When I say that, we're looking at a 3-6 record in the Big Ten last year, and I think they're going to improve upon that. They can't be that bad. I love Campbell. I love Rocco Becht. They've got an unsung hero in Carson Hansen. I think he's one of those white running backs that nobody's going to see coming into next year's NFL draft. Breakout player and program. I'm going to call Nebraska. I think Nebraska is going to make some waves this year. I love Anthony Colandrea. I think He's probably going to stay at Nebraska for 2 years. I would like him to enter the NFL draft next year, but the quarterback class is so loaded. I don't know if he could beat a 4th round grade going in, but I do like Nebraska kind of surprising some people this year. They're building some things. The Colandrea transfer. Not a lot of people watched UNLV last year. I watched UNLV last year. I like Colandrea. My top 2, I'm going to say Oregon and Ohio State, just like I say most years of my entire life. And what I'm hoping to be wrong about is Ohio State over Oregon, just because I don't like Ohio State. And then the coach, the coach hot seat, I don't think anybody's talking about Lincoln Riley. If USC doesn't step up and compete on a national level, I think USC could very easily move on from Lincoln Riley at the end of the year.
I'm going to agree with a bunch of things you said, partially because you're really good at this. I like USC. I like Nebraska, but you're right. If USC is a 7-win team or an 8-win team, I think 9 is the low water mark for him to keep his job, and anything below that, they're gonna move on. I'm gonna give you guys a breakout player. So Luke Deneke is a transfer from Minnesota Duluth. Where have you heard that name before? Not often, but there have been a handful of guys who've made it from Minnesota Duluth. But this is a guy who is a tight end who had 1,100 receiving yards last year and 14 touchdowns. Right, at tight end in 11 games, right? Not even 12-game season. So all the reports I'm getting from camp at Northwestern is he has been uncoverable. Now, obviously, the caveat is he's playing against his teammates at Northwestern. I get that. But I think he's going to be trouble, period. I think he's going to be one of those remember how Grant Calcaterra was prior to all the 14 concussions he had? But think of what Grant Calcaterra was like. Right. So imagine that. I think that's the kind of player I think he's going to be. A Grant Calcaterra type. He moves extremely well. He's a great route runner. He has fantastic hands. He's a little on the small side. He's listed at 6'4". 6'4". I don't buy the 6'4". The 240 is probably about right. He's probably like 6'3.25". But terrific route runner. He's probably going to run in the low 4.6s. I'm projecting. We'll see. I mean, once again, he ran past people at Minnesota Duluth. Now, once again, with the caveat that's Minnesota Duluth, but he's still giving people the flux apparently at Northwestern practices. And we may have Montel back. I'm going to try one last time. Can you hear us, Montel Hardy? Can you hear us, Montel? Can you hear me, Montel? No? Maybe? Yes? Okay, it looks like a no. Yeah, go ahead.
The Penn State answer was a better answer. The Maryland. I want to revoke my answer. I forgot Penn State won 3 games. I forgot how bad they were. So yeah,
they were terrible. Yeah,
that is statistically more impressive.
It's low hanging fruit.
I forgot to say what won 3 games.
I forgot how bad they.
Is that right? 3 games.
It's kind of like looking at my Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah.
There's only one way to go, and that's up.
That's wild.
Correct.
The Nebraska pick for a breakout I hammered the over. The total win total set 6.5. They should be 5-0 going into Indiana. I don't understand why that win total is so low. Are they going to compete for a playoff? No. Are they going to compete for the Big Ten? No. But I think that they're going to upset some people. I think that it's going to be a good team, a very solid Nebraska team.
Yep. No, I could not agree more. I'm going to stick with you, Josh, for your final thoughts. Your maybe one thing you haven't said that you still wanted to say about the conference. Maybe another Ohio State player that you think is not getting enough love. I know you've got at least 1 or 2 of those. And a favorite game. Maybe a game that you have circled for this upcoming year for your final thoughts.
I think most people Ohio State fans are going to have the Texas game circled. I don't think so. I do think it's going to be a loss. I just don't think they're going to be ready. There's too many pieces that got to be moved in on the defense, and they got to mesh well. And the offensive line's always been an issue under the Ryan Day era, so they got to mesh. So I got the Indiana game circled, right? I've been talking about Indiana, talking them up this entire. I think that Ryan Day has shown this really hard for him to overcome that. So how many losses to Signetti can he take before this starts to snow? It's definitely that game that's circled. I talked about Kenyatta Jackson. I think that all reports out of spring and training camp have been James Smith, the transfer from Alabama. He's looking like a monster. So I think that that's another guy to watch out for. I think that we talked about Bo Jackson, but Austin Sierreveld, Ohio State's offensive line has been kind of a joke, right? I mean, not a joke. They've never been bad, but as far as the elite teams go, their offensive line is underwhelming. I think Austin Sierreveld is I don't know if he's a first rounder, but I think that he's going to be on some people's All-American list by the end of the year. So, yeah, very excited for the season. Thank you for bringing me on. Again, my first podcast of the 2026 year, thanks to being so busy with my son. So big shout out to you guys. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Tell people where they can find and follow your work also.
Yeah. Follow me on X at Josh Keatley 16. We're going to really start to pump up the Ohio State of Mind podcast. God knows I gamble enough. I should start talking about it again. So hopefully we'll get that wall before the season kicks off.
Awesome. The same question for you, Big Boned. Give me if there's a thing you haven't discussed yet that you really feel like you'd like to. If you maybe have maybe a sleeper prospect, I know you're always good for one of those, at least one of those, that you would like to throw out there.
I'm really interested to see if Aiden Childs can take a step forward. He's at Northwestern. I had high hopes for him at Michigan State. Nothing worked out for him. So you mentioned Luke Deneke. If he can become like kind of a Brock Bowers-ish, Sam Laporta type safety net for Aiden Childs, it'll be really interesting to me to see if Aiden Childs can like do anything at Northwestern. Nobody ever expects anything from Northwestern. They're kind of like the Spanish Inquisition. And then what I wanted to talk about is ACC football. The ACC is so fun. Anyway, the game of the year, November 28th, Thanksgiving Saturday, is going to be Ohio State, Michigan. I think if Michigan has any hopes of kind of like reclaiming their national stance, it's going to be in taking out Ohio State. And if Ohio State has any designs on a national championship, they're going to need to hold court and beat Michigan in that last game of the season. I think that's we're all just waiting for the end of November.
Got it. I'm going to take one more shot at Montel. Montel, can you hear us? Can you hear us? Yes. Yes, they said it couldn't be done. They said it was over with the Germans fought Pearl Harbor. So I'm going to have you briefly recap a couple things. Give me a breakout program, a breakout player, your top two teams and your bottom two teams in the conference, a coach who you think might be on the hottest of seats, and then your final thoughts.
Sure. Good. Let's start with the first one. So the first one was the top two.
Teams in the conference. Yep.
Top two teams. For me, it's gonna be tough, but I'm gonna say, man, right now, I'm gonna keep Indiana there, and I'm gonna say Indiana and Ohio State. I think Penn State is a dark horse that no one's giving enough value to. Hopefully, that point was made earlier in the podcast when I was apparently unable to connect. But I really hope someone made it the point to say that, the fact that Matt Campbell and Rocco Becht are there, I mean, that's a better tandem than they had last year. Matt Campbell made Iowa State relevant, and I think one thing that's being underrated is, James Franklin is gone. So it's like, you don't have to worry about the fourth down midfield sky punt opportunity. You got a coach now that's worried about the fourth down midfield first down opportunity, because he wants to score. And I think scoring is how you win football games. So Penn State's definitely in the mix. I think Ohio State is in the mix as well. Indiana, I think the key for them is And here's the thing, I know Mendoza's gone, but you got to remember, Signetti. I mean, he's shown the ability to find and elevate quarterbacks in some fashion. He got Curtis Rourke to the NFL, which is a magnificent feat, and yeah, they replaced him with Mendoza right after that, right? So now he's going to have to do it again with Hoover, and at some point, if this winds up being a mild success, even you have to stop calling that luck. I think on some level, it seems like Signetti's found the ability to locate and develop quarterbacks. I think the one warning sign for Indiana you do have to watch out is if their offensive efficiency falls. If it falls dramatically with Hoover, then I think that's the signal. I think Indiana will probably have a good season, but they won't be in the top two.
Got it. Give me a breakout player and your game of the year.
Breakout player. Oh man, that's tough. Well, I'll say this. I think Jaden Maviawa, I think he's going to elevate to a whole new level next year. So I think he was really good last year. I think he's going to, show a little bit more next year and continue to develop and grow. So I think he's someone that's, definitely special. I think another breakout player is Drake Lindsay at Minnesota. I
Yeah.
think that's really, really interesting. To me, it's like he's one of the better quarterbacks that I think has been unspoken. And so, yeah, I'm going to make actually Drake Lindsay my actual breakout guy because everyone wants to talk about the quarterbacks that are surrounded with the elite talent. Minnesota doesn't quite have that. And I really think what he's going to be able to do with that program is going to be pretty good. So, I like his ability there. I think another breakout guy, under the radar guy, Andrew Sprague, tackle at Michigan. I think he's a really good football player. Indiana has Mario Landino. It's another really good defensive lineman. As far as game of the year, yeah, I have to agree with the sentiments from earlier. I really think it is going to be probably Ohio State, Michigan. It's going to be tough. I think one of the more interesting things will just be to see how some of these coaches, continue to grow and develop. Personally, I'm watching Matt Campbell, a quarterback that, is going to be interesting to watch and see what happens is Bryce Underwood, first year in a new system. He does have a lot of just God-given talent and ability, got good arm, athleticism. We're going to have to see the refinement, the nuanced reads. We'll see what happens. Yeah.
Thank you. Bring us on home, Big Bone dude. And Montel, are you doing stuff? Before I should have moved on too quickly. Is there stuff that people can look for from you? And so where can they find it?
Sure. So I still do some writing for Bear Report on occasion. So mostly weekly recap of the Chicago Bears. In terms of prospect and scouting, that'll probably be at Bear Report too. Considering doing, some other outlets as well. We'll kind of see. I'll know in the next month or two. Just kind of
Okay.
weighing my options. With regards to the combine athleticism, I did build a agent that can actually create comps for players. So if you ever have a player that actually tested at the combine, you want to know how well he tested compared to, what's his best athletic kind of like equivalent based on past years. I have a Streamlit app that uses that agentic ability, so you can see that. Interesting finding I had from there was that Mike Washington, the backup rookie backup running back for the Raiders, tested very closely to Brees Hall. So that's someone that you might want to draft in fantasy. You can find me on Twitter at Montel NFL.
Thank you, sir. Now take us home, Big Bone dude.
I don't know what that means. You can find me on Blue Sky at Big Boned. Also, Fantasy Sports Advice Network. Type that into your YouTube search. We're gonna have seven shows a week. Breakfast with Biggs on Sunday mornings is a start and sit show where I create a cocktail for breakfast. So there's a new one every week. Also, the Fantasy Forecast is a show for redraft, and we'll probably be dropping 3 episodes per week for that. The Dynasty Pulse is a dynasty show that's once a week, and then we do Points After Thursday, which we go live stream after the Thursday night football game on Thursday nights. That's all at Fantasy Sports Advice Network. You can go to Fantasy Sports or fantasysportsadvice.com. You can go to the Sellout Crowds app. You can go to Fantasy Sports Advice Network or Fantasy Football Advice Network on YouTube and find all that stuff. And then I'm doing college stuff here. Love it. I absolutely love it.
Oh, fantastic. Matt, did you have a final thought before we close this thing out?
I had a final thought, and Montel stole my thunder with the Drake Lindsay. So that was one guy I didn't want to talk about.
Don't you hate when that happens? I'll throw out one other guy. Watch out for J.J. Buchanan at Michigan. If Underwood breaks out, part of his breakout will be due to a young man named J.J. Buchanan, who is a very talented wide receiver. And ladies, gentlemen, ships at sea, we have been joined by the one, the only Montel Hardy, because there ain't no product of Montel Hardy product, because Montel Hardy party don't stop. We, however, will stop this show, but we will back.
Desmond Roebuck at Washington.
Oh, there we go. Well done, sir. Buzzer beater. And